to make an appointment with you. I'm assuming that you're all familiar with Careers Connect. So as well as being able to make appointments, you can book into live webinars like this. We also have a jobs section called, or the vacancy section. So we have jobs coming in every day if you want to have a look at some of those. Again, if you're applying for postgrad, you may have to write a personal statement. I have presented a completely separate session on how to prepare a personal statement for postgraduate study. So that's available on our YouTube website if you have to write a personal statement. I'm going to cover that briefly today, but I'm not going to give it too much space because we have a separate presentation on that. Okay, so what we're going to be doing over the next 20 minutes, why would you pursue a postgrad course, choosing a course, the application process, funding, a brief slide on writing your personal statement, and 10 tips when you're applying for a postgrad. Okay, so first of all, why would you pursue a postgrad? Before I go into kind of any detail here, I suppose a lot of us are kind of, thinking about COVID-19, what's happening, where the jobs are going to be. So some of you may be applying for a postgrad because of kind of the uncertainty of the jobs market. You may not have considered applying for postgrad before. Maybe you had a job, maybe it's been postponed, maybe it's gone, and maybe you've decided now you might be better off for another year or two in further study until things improve in the market. Okay, so that's one reason. Okay, so other reasons as well, it may be a requirement for your career. So say, for example, if you're doing an arts degree in psychology and English and you want to become a clinical psychologist, you're going to have to do a conversion course in psychology. For example, the MA in psychology. That gives you the accreditation you'll need from the Psychological Society of Ireland. Also, if you want to be a teacher, if you want to be a speech and language therapist, physiotherapist, occupational therapist, you need to do the 2-year professional training program before you can be qualified as a teacher, as a speech and language therapist, as a physiotherapist, for example, or medicine. So some careers require that you pursue a specific course in postgraduate study before you become a professional. It might just because you have a passion for your subject area and you want to explore it in more detail. Obviously, you could be doing it to improve your job prospects by specialising and exploring subjects in more detail, in more depth. You can make yourself a stronger applicant, and it can make you stand out from other applicants as well. Another interesting reason to do postgraduate study is to do a conversion course. So these are really, really interesting. You can have a level 8 in anything, and you can do a conversion course in things like IT, in law, in business, medicine, not necessarily teaching, primary teaching maybe, but what's really interesting about conversion courses is as long as you have a level 8 degree, you can do a conversion course for 1 year or 2 years, and it can flip you in to a completely new area. So they're really, really interesting. And that just means that you don't necessarily have to stick to your degree subject area. Not everybody wants to follow a career path in the area that they've studied in for the last 4 years. So sometimes a conversion course can flip you into a business area, speech and language therapy again, education, health sciences, IT and law. So they're really, really interesting. You might also decide to do postgrad study because it's the first step in your career. Some of you may have jobs already, and you may decide to go on and do something like a master's in accounting, a master's in taxation, to kind of improve your prospects. Okay, so what kind of postgrad courses are out there? We get quite a lot of questions asking, what's the difference between a postgrad and a master's? A research master's, a taught master's. So I'm going to explain that to you now. So basically, a taught course, whether it's a master's or a postgraduate diploma, it's taught. It's just like what you're doing at the moment or what you've just completed at the moment. So a taught graduate diploma will usually last from September to the following May. So it's just like a normal academic year, and you do exams. For it to be a master's, you usually have the taught element of the course from September to May, and then you have 3 months to do a major piece of research, your thesis. So that's really the difference between a taught master's and a taught graduate diploma. One involves summer work doing a thesis, and one finishes usually the May. You might then decide to do a research master's or a research PhD. That basically means, you're on your own doing your research, you'll be in contact with your supervisor. You can also do structured PhDs as well, where there's a lot more taught elements, which is kind of nice if you like working with other people. How can you do it? I suppose things are changing so much at the moment with COVID-19 that a lot of master's postgraduate programs will be going online. Some of them will be blended. So again, I can't tell you about the course that you're interested in. I'm not quite sure that some of the course directors are certain yet how things will end up in September. So if you are interested in applying for a postgrad master's or a postgrad diploma, whatever, I think you need to contact the course directors to find out, will this course be online? Will it be blended? Will you be coming in for some part of the semester, or what will be happening? Again, things are pretty unclear at the moment. I think specifically in UL, course boards are coming together, people are deciding, course directors are deciding how the courses are going to be run. So you probably need to contact the course director to find out exactly how the course is going to be run. Again, I suppose the job prospects. Two things about that. Some people do a postgrad because they've come to the end of their degree and they literally haven't got a clue about what they want to do. So they think, I'll just do a 1-year master's and hopefully that'll, something will turn up at the end of the year. That's not a really good reason for doing a master's degree or a postgraduate course, especially if you're hoping that some kind of a job will just drop out of the sky at the end of it. That's not likely to happen. So whatever you decide to do, starting in September, I would start career planning straight away. Because things are going online, if you're an undergraduate here in UL, you've probably been to the UL Careers Fair before. It's the biggest careers fair in Ireland. It's in the sports arena every October. This year, we're going to be having, I think, several smaller online careers fairs, but it's still important for you to kind of think about what it is you want to do with the postgrad course that you're going to be doing. And a lot of employers, they tend to come on campus in semester 1. So it's the busiest time of year for employers, for the career service. So if you are starting a postgrad in September, I would absolutely be using the career service. I would be attending employer presentations. They may be online, they may be not. I would be looking at the careers fair. I would really be getting myself, my CV and my LinkedIn profile up to date and be getting ready. Some closing dates, especially in the area of business, teaching, they're very, very early. They could be November, they could be December. So that's why you really have to start getting ready early in semester 1. I suppose again, hopefully doing a PhD or a postgrad will enhance your job prospects. So you should have a more specialist knowledge. Some employers really do target students with master's degrees or higher. Hopefully you'll get an opportunity to kind of meet more employers again if you're here for an extra year or 2. So it can definitely increase your job prospects, but I suppose you really need to be the driving force behind that. Okay, I'm just thinking about UL now, but most other universities, again, applications are online. So what will they be looking for? They'll be looking for your grades, any other achievements, possibly relevant employment experience, and usually they look for a supporting statement as well. They'll also be asking you to provide an official transcript of your results. If you've just finished your undergraduate degree here in UL, I don't think your results are out for another few weeks. But when they are out, you can contact Student Academic Administration and they will email you a transcript of the results. Also, just to know as well, some courses might just be happy enough with your supporting statement and your online application. Some of them will definitely interview you. Probably going to be an online interview at this stage as well. We also have recorded sessions on how to how to do an online interview. So again, I suppose if you're invited to an online interview, the main thing is just to make sure your technology is working, that you're in a quiet space and you won't be interrupted. And also to have done your research on the course, why you're interested in the course, how it's fitting in with your career plans, and what research you've done, and how it relates to the course that you've just finished or that you're just finishing as well. So, okay, this is one that people are always interested in finding out about. The Graduate and Professional Studies website in UL, they've got some good information on funding for postgrad study. So quite a lot of the departments are offering scholarships. So you need to have a look at the website there. Graduate Professional Studies funding your postgraduate degree. They also have information on the SUSI grant. That usually is the main form of funding for students going on to do postgraduate study, but it very much depends on your personal situation and you and/or your family's income. So there's no guarantee that you'll qualify for a SUSI grant, but if you're currently on a grant from SUSI, you may be eligible for a grant for your first postgraduate course. So that can cover your fees and it can also cover maintenance. So if you have a look at the SUSI website, postgraduate student section, you'll see a section or you'll see an online eligibility reckoner, and it takes about 10 to 15 minutes, and it gives you an idea of whether you'll be eligible for a grant for your postgrad course. So it's pretty good. Otherwise, you are really just kind of looking at the departments or private sources of income, credit unions, parents, family, things like that. SUSI is the main one, and then departments are the other. If you're thinking about studying in the UK, the Prospects website is the best, really. If you're thinking about studying abroad as well, the Prospects website is probably the best website to look at. Grad Island also has some interesting information on postgraduate study and on funding as well. So they're all pretty good links there. Okay. What to do, what not to do. I suppose the main thing is don't leave it to the last minute. Any good, thoughtful application, it takes time, especially if you have to write a supporting statement, if you have to get your transcript, things like that. So make sure you put it in well in advance if you can. Closing dates are all different. So closing date for the MA in psychology, for example, could be very, very different for the closing date from the Masters in Business Management. So again, you need to have a look at the website of the course that you're interested in to find out what the closing date is. Some of them will keep rolling throughout the summer until they have places filled. Again, we don't know how things are going to be this year with regards to postgrad study. So you may find that some of the courses are extending their closing dates, but you need to check with the specific department. I suppose the main thing is to show that you've done your research, you've thought about the course, you've thought about how it links to the course that you're doing or not, if it's a conversion course, but then you need to kind of think about how it fits in with your career plans. But I suppose the main thing is if you're writing a supporting statement, make sure that you can show you've done your research. Again, focus on specific achievements, show that you're ready for doing a postgrad by looking at your grades, by emphasising research methods. If it's kind of a research master's, talk about your final year project, what research methods you used, things like that. So think about what you've kind of completed, what your achievements are in your degree, and make sure you kind of spell them all out in your application. Again, I suppose if you're invited to an interview, do treat it like a job interview. Be professional, be prepared, and make sure you know what you're talking about. Okay, personal statement, really important. Think about the course director. They are going to be sitting there reading your personal statement, and it's a chance really to personalise your application. So it's an opportunity to give a sense of who you are. The online application it sends is just a list of qualifications. Your transcript is a list of results, but your supporting statement really is a chance to get your personality across. Also, because this is kind of postgraduate study, it's level 9s, level 10s. Your presentation needs to look good, your formatting needs to look good, your grammar, your spelling, how you present yourself in your personal statement is really important because it's a reflection of you. So once you've written it, it may take several drafts. I would reread it, spell, grammar check, we'd be happy to have a look at your personal statement if you'd like a kind of another pair of eyes to look at it, but even to get a family member or a friend to have a look at it before you send it in, because it's, you know, you're bound to miss something. So yeah, get it another pair of eyes to have a look at it. If you're applying for several courses, it's really easy to see if you've sent the same statement. It's bland, it's vague, it's not targeted. So you really do need to tailor your personal statement to each course. Okay, finally, 10 tips to find the right postgrad course for you. Number one, identify the type of program that you wish to do. So is it a research postgraduate? Is it taught? Is it a conversion course? Is it a specialist course that will give you professional qualifications? I suppose the thing at the moment is trying to find out, is it online? Will studying online suit you? Do you know, online studying doesn't suit everybody. That's the way things are probably going to be for a while, but try and find out what kind of format the course is going to take. Do as much research as possible as well. You know, it may be kind of a brand new area for you. You may not know a lot about the area, especially if it's a conversion course. So find out as much as possible about the course beforehand as well. I said to somebody the other day, I think they had come from, I'm not quite sure what degree, but they were thinking about doing a master's degree in marketing. They weren't sure if marketing was something they would be interested in. So there are lots and lots of free online courses out there, taster courses that you could try. So good websites are Alison.com, Udemy, Udemy.com. There are free online courses with ecollege.ie as well. Lots of IT courses, marketing, graphic design, they're all free. So if you'd like to do a taster course beforehand, that would be really good to think about before actually committing to 1 or 2 years. Depending on what you're interested in doing as well, you might want to contact your FYP supervisor or an academic advisor to find out, you know, if they will be a supervisor or what do they think about your research interest as well. So use the course directors, use your tutors, use anybody in the faculty or department who you may know who could advise you. Find out about funding. Obviously, that's really, really important. So as soon as you can find out if you're eligible for funding or not, that will kind of help you decide what to do as well. Make sure to check closing dates. Again, some of them are very, very early. Some of them will roll out as the summer goes on. Grades do matter. I suppose it's a bit late at this stage if you're waiting for your results, but for some courses, it could be a 2-1. A lot of them, it'll be a 2-2. Some of them might be a bit more flexible. If you can explain why you didn't actually get the 2-1 or the 2-2, do you know, was there a reason you did badly in one particular exam? Do you have really relevant work experience that will kind of make up for the fact that you didn't do as well as you thought you would? A lot of course directors are very flexible. So if you don't quite have the results, but you still really want to get in and you've got a good reason why, I would contact the course director and explain that to them as well. You probably need an academic reference as well. So that would usually be your FYP supervisor. It could be a tutor, a lecturer. I know it's pretty difficult when you come from a big course like business studies and you may not know all your lecturers, but then I suppose you'll just get somebody in the department to verify your results and to say, yes, they were here. But if you do know lecturers and you got on well with them and you think they'd give you a good reference, I would absolutely ask them. Okay, so again, your application technique, your supporting statement, make sure you spend a lot of time working on that. If you're not quite sure what the course involves, LinkedIn is really good. You could use LinkedIn to find graduates who are studying the course that you're interested in. So if you go onto the University of Limerick LinkedIn page, I think there are 64,000 UL graduates who are on LinkedIn. You can, if you go into the alumni section and you go into kind of the search function there, you put the name of the course that you're interested in doing, and you'll find out people who may be graduating this year, who graduated a few years ago, because LinkedIn is a professional networking site. You could use that just to contact somebody and say, look, I see that you did the master's in marketing, for example. I'm currently thinking about applying. would it be possible to have a chat with you, or any advice? What did you think of the course? So that's a good way to find out as well from people who've actually completed the course, if you don't know anybody personally. No harm to have a plan B. Depending on what you are applying for, I suppose some courses are so competitive that it might be no harm to have a plan B there. So think about the course that you're applying for. What will you do if you don't get a place on the course this year? Will you reapply again next year? Do you have another course in mind? So just think about what your other options might be. Hopefully you will get a place on the course that you're interested in, but sometimes people don't, and it's good to have a plan B.